What's up, everybody? Ninja Nick 333. We are back with another round of the best 2 out of 3 league challenge at Alterniverse in Hyde Park, New York. We've got Nico on the left this time. He was on the right side of our screen in the previous round, playing Gardevoir yet again. They were our top table for this round, so just decided to throw them on this time, just because they are, I think, the only undefeateds at this point in the tournament. Because, of course, if you do best 2 out of 3 for a challenge, you're going to have a ton of ties. So I would know I got most of them. We do see it is a Gardevoir EX deck again, just like the previous round, the same Gardevoir EX deck yet again. And this is actually a Darkrai VSTAR deck. I'm not sure the name of the player who is on the right. I think he's a local. But he is playing Darkrai VSTAR. Darkrai is a super awesome deck. Really cool. I would love for Darkrai VSTAR to be viable in the current format because I would play the heck out of it, but unfortunately that is just not the case in my opinion. Looks like we are going to go for a Trekking Shoes into an Ultra Ball to get rid of the Malevolent Charge Moltres to grab the Moltres V. I'm not sure how I feel about just getting rid of the Malevolent Charge that early. You had 2 Dark Energies in hand. You could have just put that into play, and then you'd have 2 Dark Energy in play. I don't think that would have been too bad. He does Ultra Ball for the Darkrai V. This is definitely correct. You definitely need 1 to 2 Darkrai V down on your bench turn 1 in order to actually be able to play the game. So it does put that down. Attaches a Darkness Energy here. Along with a Dark Patch is going to be able to get a second Darkness Energy into play here. It might have been better to conserve that for the next turn. We also, I don't think we saw a Supporter here yet, and there was a Miriam in hand. You could have Miriam to the Malevolent Charge back into the deck to draw 3 more cards. So that would have gotten you just that much deeper into there and made it so discarding the Malevolent Charge Moltres was worthwhile. So we do see Fog Crystal coming out here from Nico. Gonna grab our basic Psychic or basic Psychic Energy or basic Psychic Pokemon. We are now fully loaded up since we used the Roar of the Sword last turn with Zacian V. We are able to hard attach this turn as well. We are now at 3 energy, so we can hit for 150. We will be able to one-shot the Radiant Greninja. And we also have 1 Kirlia and 1 Worlds in play, so we are kind of racing this Darkrai deck. The Zacian V also does not have Dark Weakness. Fun fact. Didn't know that coming into this tournament because I always forget. And we are able to not be one-shot by this Darkrai potentially. We need a lot more energy in play in order to do that. So this Darkrai does, I believe it's like 30 plus 30 for every Dark Energy that's on your side of the board, I want to say. I know that the olden days, the Darkrai with Dark Pulse did 20 plus 20. I think this one's 30 plus 30, but it's still just not quite enough in the format because of how high these HP values have gotten in these last few years. So we are going to use the ability of the Moltres V to put a Darkness Energy on it. We see a second Moltres V come down. Or maybe he attached for turn to the 1 Moltres. Because you can only use the ability of Moltres V once per turn. So we attached for a turn to it, then use the ability to get 1 from the discard pile. So 3, 6, 9. So that's 150 we're hitting for right now, right? Yep. Awesome. So Darkrai VSTAR also has a really cool VSTAR power where you can get 2 item cards out of your discard pile and put them into your hand, so you can use those for Ball Search, you can use those for double Cross Switcher, you can use them for double Dark Patch, you can use them for all sorts of things, and it's pretty good there. So, I also see that, I didn't do this, but looks like in the previous round, I think Alan may have put my VSTAR markers out here for both players, but this guy put his own VSTAR marker out. So this is likely the one he is going to be going by. I didn't put these here. They were just sitting there. I just had a pile of those to the side in case anybody wanted to take them. So we do see the judge is shuffling both players' hands back into the deck to draw 4 cards. And we can still see another big hit from the Zacian V here. Just hitting for 150 isn't too bad right now. I do think that you want to get more on your bench, though, because you don't want to be attacking with the Gardevoir EX next turn. So maybe get one more Ralts down would be pretty sweet. We are going to damage ourselves a little bit more because the damage on ourselves does not matter too much. Just going to hit as hard as we possibly can. If we were able to Boss's Orders instead of Judge this turn, that would have been pretty cool to get rid of the Moltres, but he does have a second Moltres on the bench, so that wouldn't really, you know, help your game plan too much. So we are going to see, this is 6. 210 we're hitting for, so that leaves 60 HP remaining on this Darkrai. We're not going to be able to see these damage counters. It looks like these are ETB die. They do not show up very well on camera, so I apologize for that, especially since they're clear, but that is 210 damage total. So we are going to Nest Ball here, probably going to get maybe the Radiant Greninja back. We did Miriam that back into the deck. Yes, we are. Not too bad. We also need another Darkrai V down this turn as well, just because we know our Darkrai V-Star is going to get knocked out into our next turn. So we definitely need another backup one. Preferably with maybe a EXP share on it. I know these decks usually play EXP share to move energies from the active when they get knocked out. Looks like we do have to discard a Darkrai V-Star as well to play this research. That's not ideal. And I think we discarded the Malevolent Charge Moltres again. Or at least I think that's what it's called. Is it called Malevolent Charge? The single prize Moltres. So we're going to put a third energy onto the same Moltres. I think that you should be spreading those out so you have one energy on the other Moltres V. So you should spread it out so that it's 2 and 2, because now if Nico were to go Boss's Orders Knockout, you're now getting 3 energy out of play instead of just 2. We're going to Dark Patch, so I guess it doesn't matter now. But we don't have another Darkrai V. You would have really liked to see an attach to the Darkrai V this turn. Oh, but Double Cross Switcher is going to bring up the Gardevoir EX, so that will be an easy knockout. We can actually attack with the Moltres here. That will make it so the Darkrai V-Star can stay on the bench. You do have to damage yourself 30, but that is fine, because they still didn't take... Nico didn't take the knockout last turn. So you are able to go up 2 prize cards here. So that was actually a pretty decent play. You're going to see an Ultra Ball getting rid of Manaphy. You don't need that in this matchup. You're not going to be attacked by a Radiant Greninja or anything. And the Gardevoir, that's a little bit disappointing to see go away, but if you got to do it, you got to do it. Nico's setup is not too hot right now. He is going to need to get a little bit more going. Nico will be able to take 2 prize cards, go down to 3 remaining, but then the Darkrai player will just be able to take a return knockout of the Zacian and go down to 2 remaining, and still have another Moltres V in play, so if there's maybe a Boss's Orders or another Cross Switcher play to get rid of a Gardevoir EX, that would end up being the game. So we're going to Worker, that'll draw 3 and discard that Pokestop. Remember to discard that Pokestop. And yeah, looks like not too many good options in hand here. I think if I were you, I would be afraid of the... Well, I guess you don't have to be afraid of the Judge, but I think I would just bench all the Pokemon in my hand anyway. Just in case maybe there's another Escape Rope. or another cross switcher or a boss's orders, you can tempt them into knocking out the Pokemon that's not the Zacian, and maybe you can just win off of it. But at this point, you've got potentially 3 attackers going on here from the Darkrai side. So this is actually looking like it's not too good of a matchup going on right now. I know Darkrai does have a very bad time against Lost Box, so you would think that you would not see it at this high of the table numbers, but this is round 3 of a league challenge. There was not a lot of Lost Box at this tournament. There was a lot of Miraidon, because that's how locals tend to be. Everybody thinks Miraidon's the best deck, which unfortunately it is not. I would like to see Miraidon be a lot better than it is. Although the one that got top 8 in Portland is the version of the deck that I do think is best. But again, awful Lost Box matchup. So until Lost Box is out of the format, I don't think that Miraidon can really do too much. So we're going to see the Moltres V is going to be able to get another Darkness Energy into play. And we are going to be able to attack with this Darkrai V-Star. We get another Pokestop down. We can mill 3, and if any of those are Dark Patches, we can use them, which is great. Use concealed cards, getting rid of another Darkness Energy. We get the EXP share down now, a little too late, unfortunately, for it to matter too much. Yeah, so now this is a little rough for Nico, because if he's going to want to attack with another Pokemon, he's going to have to put another Gardevoir into play, and he's going to have to attack with another Zacian or Mimikyu. And that's going to put another easy 2-prizer to knock out into play. So he can't go Mimikyu because that thing is... Well, actually, any of his options can get knocked out by that Moltres. So he's going to have to go Shining Arcana Gardevoir here in order to take the knockout to force his opponent to be on odd prizes. And he's going to want to not put the Gardevoir EX into play. He's going to want a Shining Arcana to get 2 energy onto the Shining Arcana Gardevoir and then attach for turn. So that's asking for a lot, especially off this Roxanne that was just played from the Darkrai player. We are going to see a Nest Ball here, going to get that Darkrai V that we were looking for. And man, Darkrai is off to the races in this game. This is awesome. I did see that there was a Darkrai deck that did do well in Portland. This recording was a couple weeks before Portland. So this guy is not playing Darkrai because it got 36th place or anything. But another one of my friends has been testing Darkrai like crazy. So we'll have to see if it ends up being good or not. It does seem like it has a pretty decent Guardy matchup from just seeing this so far. So we are going to Kirlia, discard, draw 2. Couple of dead cards that we can't really do much of anything with. Looks like Nico is going to have to end up scooping this game. I don't think he has a way to take these last 3 prizes. Actually, no. Nico does have a way to win the game. He just needs the Gardevoir EX to evolve the Kirlia, the one Kirlia that can evolve into. Then he needs the Zacian V and Sky Seal Stone, and he can actually take 3 prize cards off this Darkrai V-Star. But it looks like he's probably not going to be able to put that together. He does have 1 more turn to potentially do it, though. He can always feed this Radiant Greninja into the Darkrai, let them take that knockout, and then still try to pony up that the Sky Seal Stone play on the next turn. But I think Nico is playing 1 Zacian, 1 Mimikyu, so he's going to have to recycle his Zacian with the... Or no, he does have another Zacian in deck. Okay. Maybe he's playing both Zacian and the Mimikyu. Which I think is a little excessive, but in this matchup right now, if you're already playing the Mimikyu, you definitely want to have that Zacian. That second Zacian. So I would put that Ralts down. In case you get into another Kirlia, that's another 2 you can draw next turn. I would not put down the Mimikyu. You definitely don't want that in hand. So he's going to Pokestop. Discards the Sky... No. You have to discard the Sky Seal Stone. It's not an item, Nico. It's not an item, Nico. It's not an item anymore, Nico. It's a tool card. That Pokestop was ballsy. And yeah. So he has the Sky Seal Stone in hand, which should not be in hand. Gets the Shining Arcana Gardevoir. So now if you see, like, Boss's Orders or Cross Switch or knock out this Corellia, that's also game. Again, unless we can see the Shining Arcana put 2 energy onto this Gardevoir, attach for turn, magically move the Greninja because you're not playing any switching cards. I think it would have been fine to attach that to the active, too, in case they, like, choose not to knock you out. Then you have a way to retreat. But this is fine, too. Just pass. We're going to see Trekking Shoes. We're going to keep the Darkrai VSTAR because we want to evolve into it. Although I think at this point in the game, if that Darkrai VSTAR in the active goes down, you just attack with the Moltres and you win. So I don't think you necessarily needed that if you were looking for something else. And again, we discarded a tool card with the Pokestop and we put it in hand. So both players have put tool cards in their hand that are not item cards. They got to remember that ruling. Again, this was like end of April when this was recorded, so it was definitely after the rule change. Looks like we're going to get rid of the Shining Arcana. I think that's incorrect. We are going to be able to put up the new Darkrai VSTAR, so that's good. But I think getting rid of the Corellia would be better here, because then you know that it can't evolve, and you're not going to... You already know your opponent has the Sky Seal Stone in hand, which they put into hand on that Pokestop. So again, so that Darkrai on the bench should not have the Choice Belt, and Nico should not be able to win off of Sky Seal Stone. He should lose this game because he milled it with the Pokestop. But yeah, Nico's trying to piece it together. So now that he does have it in hand, I guess he has the ability to go for the win that way. It is a little annoying that, like, all of the cards have been, like, errated to be tool cards instead of them just printing new ones. Or just, like, making the change for cards going forward. Because now you have all of these cards that say item card on them, but actually aren't item cards. It's like a big Yu-Gi-Oh kind of thing. Because there's a lot of cards in Yu-Gi-Oh that don't do what they say, because they just errata every 5 minutes into completely different effects. So yeah, we see the Zacian with the Sky Seal Stone. So Nico will be able to win off of this, should he be able to get into the Gardevoir EX. And then he just, I think he just threw 3 off the Radiant Greninja too. Come on, man. It looked like 3 off of there. Sloppy play coming from both players here. So we are going to research 4, 5, 6, 7. We do not get a Gardevoir EX. So I think this game is going to go to Darkrai, as it should. Yeah, there's a level ball in hand, but that's not going to get you there. Your opponent's at 1 prize card. You can't neutralize all 3 of these threats simultaneously. You can't take 3 prize cards at the same time. I mean, all you can do here is, like, retreat into something that has big enough HP, but then you don't have the ability to Psychic Embrace onto it. So 3, 6, 9... Yeah, they're hitting 240 right now. So that's definitely game, Nico. Just scoop, save time, go to the next one. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so he does scoop. We do get to go on to the next game. So we will be able to see if he is able to clutch it out or not. Looks like we replace a sleeve on Nico's side. So Darkrai is up 1 game in this best of 3 league challenge. We're going to have to see if they are able to finish this game because, of course, since it's a best 2 out of 3 challenge, almost every single match goes to time. I know all of mine did, except for 1. I won one. 1-0-3. Alright, so it looks like Nico's got a basic. He's got that Cresselia. Other person definitely at least mulliganed once. Now they've mulliganed twice. Or maybe they both mulliganed first. Yes, we're okay. So this is gonna mess up that, isn't it? Yep. Every time I have to hit the music to keep playing, my video minimizes. Alright, so we do get we almost knocked over a prize card, but we fixed that quite easily. Nico was able to get his one mulligan, then draws for turn. So we do see Zacian double Ralts come out from a level ball and Battle VIP Pass. So the Battle VIP Pass is getting one of the two Ralts as well as the Zacian, and then the level ball is getting the other Ralts. So again, game one took quite a lot of time, so if you want to win a best 2 out of 3, you got to start playing faster. We do get an energy to the Zacian and then Roar the Sword. So again, that's all you really have to do turn 1 if you're Gardevoir. You're going to be able to get this Zacian sort of set up here. If you can start being the aggressor in a matchup where you are hit for weakness on one of your best Pokemon, it is really good to get that Zacian going as fast as possible. We do see Trekking Shoes. He's going to get the Dark Patch off of that. We are going to also Nest Ball. Should be getting the Darkrai V or the Radiant Greninja, it looks like, instead. Okay. That's not a very good shuffle, but then again, they are playing on ETB sleeves, and ETB sleeves are impossible to shuffle. So we do see the concealed card's going to discard a card, draw 2. Nico cuts him directly into the Darkrai V, so we're going to see that come out. We're going to Dark Patch to it. It always feels bad when you Dark Patch and can't attach for a turn in the same turn, because the whole point of the card is to get an additional energy attachment into play. But there are no more cards in hand, or no more energy cards in hand for this player. We are going to get down the Moltres V as well here and just pass the turn. So yeah, again, you could have just kept if you were going to Ultra Ball for the Moltres, you could have just held the Dark Patch, put the energy on the Moltres. But then again, you want the Darkrai to be your Darkrai is your first attacker in the game generally. So you do need 2 energies on it as fast as possible. But now you have a 2-card hand and you have to find your cross switcher already. So that feels pretty awful. If you can top deck an energy, you could use concealed cards, but you really need a research next turn. So it looks like Nico grabs a Gardevoir EX out of his deck, rare candies into it, and then researches. So this is a pretty hot start for Nico, a complete opposite of game 1. He's already got his Gardevoir out. If he is able to damage this Darkrai here, that would be exactly what he wants to do. So I think this turn, what you want to do is maybe you go for the Moonlight Glow, I think it's called, on the Cresselia, and put that damage to the Darkrai V, and the next turn try to boss it up and knock it out. You don't really want to attack into the Galarian Moltres baby, because that's only going to get you one prize. Plus, it also has no energy on it. It's the worst start in the Darkrai deck because you get the benefit from it by being able to bench it and put 2 energy on it for free with its ability. So it would be nice if you could fit Penny into this deck. At worst, you could always use your Radiant Greninja twice in the same turn. So it looks like we're going to Fog Crystal, get another Psychic Energy. So I'd like to Moonglow reverse this turn. I think that would be alright. You could put an energy on the Zacian, an energy on the Kirlia, an energy on yourself. Oh, but it looks like there's no energy in the discard pile. Oh, so I think Nico attaching for turn there is actually not very good. Because if he attached for turn to the active, he would have been able to retreat. He didn't realize he didn't have any psychic energy in his discard pile, so now he's not able to do any attack this turn. Yeah, he could have attached to Cresselia, retreated, Psychic Embrace to his now active Zacian. He'd only put 20 damage on it, but then he would be able to knock out a Pokemon this turn. And you know you're not going to get one-shot by Darkrai at this point. It takes them usually 2 to 3 turns to get set up. Looks like we are also going to see a Concealed Cards is going to get another Dark Energy as well as a Darkrai V. And I don't know, I feel like I would want to hold that Dark Energy for next turn just so I can Concealed Cards again. But we do see the attach. So now if Nico is able to get a boss's orders with a bunch of energy in the discard pile, we are going to be able to see that Darkrai VSTAR potentially go down, especially if we get the Sky Seal Stone. We could take 3 prize cards. That would be huge. Yeah, so Nico should be excited for this turn. He just needs some energy in that discard pile and he is good to go. Even if you don't get the Sky Seal Stone, you're not feeling that bad because you are getting the first knockout. And you are removing the 2 Darkness energy from play, and there's no EXP shares on the board to be able to conserve any of those energies from staying in play. So Fog Crystal for another Psychic Energy. So I always want to use my Shining Arcanas before I use my Fog Crystals, but my Kirlias after. But you have to use the Kirlias before the Shining Arcanas sometimes. So it feels really weird in certain turns. Because then you like Fog Crystal, and then Kirlia, and then Shining Arcana, and then there's like no Psychic Energies left in deck. So that always feels kind of bad. Now you could do this turn, you could do what you should have done last turn, Nico. You can attach to the Cresselia, retreat, and hit with the Zacian. And now you don't have to damage the Zacian at all. There are 2 energies in the discard pile if you wanted to attack with something different as well. But I don't think you would want to attack with anything different. Oh, and you are going to boss up the Darkrai VSTAR, so we might actually have it. Almost attaches the Cresselia instead. So it looks like we do have a total of 3 in the discard pile. So we are going to put 60 damage on ourselves. So now we have a total of 70. So that is 270 we're doing. That is exact knockout on the Darkrai VSTAR. We even have the Shining Arcana left over to boot. We can attach a Psychic Energy we just found there. We're going to put that on the Gardevoir on the bench, the one that used the Shining Arcana, and we can take the knockout. So yeah, there should not be any reason why Nico would lose this game. If I were the Darkrai player at this point, I would just scoop and go to next game. Maybe I'd see my top deck. It's Trekking Shoes, Dark Patch, you got to discard that. You got to discard that, you need a research. You can always use the VSTAR power to get it back. If you don't have a research here, you concede. Save the time, go to game 3. You're still favored. Nest Ball, yeah, no, you're over. You're over, bud. Your opponent's going to take 2 more prize cards already. Especially since you promoted the Moltres V instead of the Radiant Greninja or the Baby Moltres. I think you should have promoted the Baby Moltres, let that get knocked out next. Knowing that you're just in top deck mode. Yeah, and this game is already over. So now this Zacian will be able to take prize cards 3 and 4 already. You can just start setting up the bench Shining Arcana Gardevoir with no damage on it. You can just start attaching for turn. Or now that you have 2 of those, you can actually use... You can actually just hard attach to either of them. Or both of them, even. Ooh, got 2 Psychic Energy off of that. And now we see the Concede from Darkrai. So we are going to go to a Game 3. So that was actually a pretty fast Game 3. We might actually... Or Game 2, sorry. That was a pretty fast Game 2. So we might actually see a full Game 3. So we are going to start setting up. Looks like Darkrai mulligans yet again. Darkrai should be playing more than enough Pokemon to not mulligan as much as it is right now. It might be due to the insufficient shuffling, maybe. You really got to go for like a mash shuffle, where you take the 2 halves and you just mash them together. Because then you get a more evenly distributed randomization. Whereas if you just do it this way, it's more like just cutting a whole bunch of times. It's almost like what I call the Japanese shuffle. I know that's not the correct term for it, but they do it a lot in like Yu-Gi-Oh! And stuff, where they just cut their deck repeatedly. And that just doesn't, it just makes stuff clump together too much in the wrong way. So we do see a Darkrai VSTAR is not too bad here. You can always attach for turn, and then on the next turn you should not be able to be attacked, so you can get your attack off first, being able to just hard attach 2 times. So not too bad, not too bad. We are going to Nest Ball for the Radiant Greninja. That will start getting those dark energies into the discard pile for us. Looks like he says he's going to go back in. He's going to Ultra Ball, probably discarding... He's discarding a Research and a Judge. That's a little scary because I didn't really see much of any supporters from him in either of the previous 2 games. So him discarding 2 turn 1 is quite scary in my opinion. Especially since there are no more... you can't play a supporter turn 1. So you can't research this turn. You have no more dark energies in hand, I don't think. Oh no, there is one more. So you can concealed cards. Hopefully you draw into another dark energy so you can attach for turn. You do. Alright, so never punished. We got the God set up here as far as Darkrai is concerned. And just a pass. So we do have the research for the next turn, so hopefully Nico does not judge him. We're going to get the Battle VIP pass here. We're going to be able to search for another 2 Pokemon. I think we go for the another Ralts and the Zacian, or we can go for the Radiant Greninja and another Ralts. I think that would be fine. I don't think you need to go for the Zacian this turn. Just because you know your opponent is going to be able to attack next turn, so if they just boss or cross-switch or up the Zacian, you're just letting it get damaged for no reason. You'd rather just put it down the turn that you are going to attack with it, unless you are going first and you are more likely to be able to get the first attack. Yeah, if you're getting the second attack, you don't usually want to get the Zacian V here, I would feel. Unless you're against Lost Box, specifically. We do see the Worker is going to draw 3 cards. We do get a Level Ball, an Ultra Ball, and another Ralts. So yeah, it would have been great to have a bench spot here for the Radiant Greninja, but it looks like there are no Psychic Energies in hand. There might be a Fog Crystal. And you could always get a Fog Crystal off of this. We do see that is here. You could always just get the Battle VIP Pass just to discard it as well. Or to play it. You could always play it to get one more Pokemon into play. Or just to fail it, get it out of the deck too. So we are going to attach for turn with that Fog Crystal, getting the Psychic Energy, and then Roar the Sword as well to get another energy on the Zacian V. So it looks like the Darkrai player does top deck the Dark Patch. That's not what you want to see since there are no dark energies in there. You're just going to have to research that thing away. But again, you could always use the Darkrai V-Star's V-Star power. And also a little surprising, did not use the Pal Pad. You had 2 supporters in the discard pile. You could use the Pal Pad to put those back in first. To make sure that your, future hands aren't completely dead like they have been in the past 2 games. So we're going to Ultra Ball away a Roxanne and another Cross Switcher. Did we get rid of a Cross Switcher yet this game, or was that last? Oh, and they start handing out prize packs this round, that's right. 3 people pulled Charizard VSTAR promos. I was pretty pissed. Looks like, what did Nico get? A Hollow Psychic Energy, a Bibarel? I think that's a Hollow Bibarel. Or no, it's a non-Hollow Bibarel. That's awesome. My group's usually a fan of non-Hollows. All the versions of Bibarel besides this are Hollows. So, it looks like we're gonna, yep, put all 3 in our hand, even though Choice Belt is not an item. Again, Pokestop only gets you item cards if you mill them, so you did mill a card that is a tool card and not an item card, so that should be going to the discard pile. But both players seem to be playing by the previous formats or rules, even though we are in Scarlet and Violet now. Looks like just a dead hand because we didn't use the PAL pad to put those supporters back in. So we are just going to hit with the Darkrai V-Star. We do get a prize. We do get the first prize. But now this Zacian might be able to go for the Sky Seal Stone 3-prize turn. And that would be pretty scary, especially since we do not have another Darkrai V-Star in the wings here. So that other Darkrai V does not have any XP share. You're going to have to promote something that isn't it and then Dark Patch to it. And attach for turn, and then have double cross switcher to get it active. And that's just kind of asking a lot at this point. And that's the reason why Darkrai just isn't too good right now, is that it's just so hard. Dark Patch only being able to go to your bench. You have to evolve to get into your attacker. See, Darkrai was always good because it was a basic Pokemon before. Now you have to evolve into it. It's not very good. Even the 3-prize tag team of Zoroark and Greninja is better. It has the exact same attack, but it's a basic Pokemon. You can just put it down, Dark Patch to it, and attack. I think it has the same HP, though. So Darkrai, in theory, is better because it's 1 less prize card, but Zoroark or Greninja is just a basic Pokemon, so... We're going to Pokestop. That is actually a pretty good mill there. Gets 2 item cards and a basic energy into the discard pile. So yeah, if we're Nico, we just want to be able to get our Gardevoir EX into play. Load up a bunch of energy on the Zacian V and take the 1 shot. So we are going to Rare Candy into the Gardevoir EX. We are going to Sky Seal Stone. The play is on the horizon here. Yeah, we have 1 energy in the discard pile right now. We have 2 Curlias available to us, so we can discard the Psychic Energy that's in our hand and draw 2. We're going to use the Level Ball first to get the Manaphy, just to thin our deck of 1 more card that isn't energy, so that we are more likely to draw into more, so we can get as many of those into the discard pile as possible. Have we played a supporter either? You could always research, too. Got PAL Pad back in, Roxanne Worker. It's a little bit of an interesting choice putting the Worker back, but I think it's fine. You could always just get rid of the Pokestop. That is giving your opponent some value. Getting their energies into the discard pile and whatnot. But it's funny that it almost seems like Nico's getting more value out of the Pokestop than the Darkrai player is. Yep, we are seeing the research here. Okay, so I thought there was a Gardevoir EX in hand, but I guess that's the Mimikyu. But either way, this was the play because you want to be able to make sure you can thin your deck as much as possible to get into that Gardevoir EX. And to get those Psychic Energies available to you. So we're going to play that Fog Crystal, get another Psychic Energy out of the deck. And if we have another Curlia too, we might be able to discard 3 cards this turn. Oh, we already have the Gardevoir EX active. That's what I'm thinking of. That's why I did see it in the hand earlier. We already Rare Candied into it. So we can retreat it at any point because we should have 2 energies in there, right? He's just doing the math. You need 7 energies on your Zacian. So you can always attach 1 for turn. You could discard 1 with a Curlia. You haven't used any Curlias yet, I don't believe. They might even be in turns now at this point. I wouldn't be surprised. No, they shouldn't be in turns yet. They should have another 5 minutes. So it's going to retreat into a Ralts. Is he going to attack with a Shining Arcana Gardevoir this turn? I don't think he has enough energy to do that. No, it just passes. I guess there's no way for him to get all the energy in the discard pile that he wants. But now he's risking his Zacian getting one shot. So it looks like we must have Dark Patched to one of the Darkrai's, or maybe we attached Return to it. And then we use the Moltres' ability to put one from our discard pile. 369. So we're hitting 180 times 2 for weakness is enough to knock out the Gardevoir. So yeah, I would really like to see the play happen to where the Darkrai was one shot. Because you can only Sky Seal Stone once as well. That is an ability. And it's a VSTAR power as well. So you can knock out a Darkrai VSTAR for 3 prizes. But then you still have to knock out 2 more Pokemon after that. So by whiffing it the last turn was really bad for Nico. I'm really surprised he did whiff it. It would have been really great too if he had the memory skip as well, because then the Darkrai just would not have been able to attack that turn if he had the memory skip Ralts instead of that other Ralts. And that's why in matchups where you aren't against Lost Box, you always try to make your memory skip Ralts be the last one that's in play, so that you can use memory skip if you need to. Because memory skip would have been huge there. We are going to see a Roxanne. It's going to make Nico have a 6-card hand, and the Darkrai player is going to have a 2-card hand after they both shuffle in. It almost seems like Nico had enough energy to do it. Unless maybe he used his Kirlia abilities before the research and I just missed it. He's usually been tapping the Kirlias, so I've been able to keep track better, but maybe he had already used them. That would make sense. So you need 1 more energy on this Zacian. Yep, there it is. And then you can Sky Seal Stone, take 3 prize cards. I don't think he's taken 1 prize yet, right? This would be his first real attack of the game. Yeah, there's 3 prize cards remaining, I can tell. So he's thinking of putting the Moltres up. If you put the Moltres up, you can get the knockout. And you wouldn't even need another energy from hand. It looks like it's double Dark Patch in hand as well, along with maybe a Pokemon. Yeah, another Moltres. So you can use the Moltres' ability, put an energy on the new one you just put down. Okay, or you can do that. And then VSTAR for double Cross Switcher. And then knock out the Gardevoir. And then the Zacian V is still in play, but... Yep, Nico just throws it right in the discard pile. He's like, yep, nope. And we see double Dark Patch as well. Yeah, I think Darkrai is actually going to win this game. Wow. So 30 to itself, goes down to 1 prize remaining. And let's see. So if Nico takes the knockout here, he can remove 3 Dark Energy. 1 goes back into play on the Moltres. Darkrai hits for 369. 150 without an attach for turn. That will be enough to knock out the Zacian as is. So yeah, Nico has to retreat into the other Gardevoir. No, because that... Yeah, wow. So he needs a second Zacian in play, along with getting the Gardevoir EX out. Retreat into the other Zacian, hit for like just enough to knock out the Moltres, and then hope your opponent doesn't have an attach for turn. I think that might be able to do it. Either that or they're in turns and this ties. I think those are the only way that Nico can like not lose this game right now. Oh, looks like he concedes. Wow. Yep. That was rough. Yeah, so that goes to show that Darkrai still has some power in this format, especially when one of the best decks in the format is a little bit Dark Weak there, except on the Zacian. So, as always, guys, do not forget to comment, like, and subscribe and all that good stuff up above, and we will see you guys next time.